today's guest is someone who's redefining what it means to live with purpose and visibility. She's the founder of Framr Media, a thought leadership agency helping leaders amplify their voice through podcasts and personal brand. She's also a coach and the creator of the REF method, a transformative framework helping individuals and organizations reframe limiting beliefs into bold breakthroughs. And she's also the host of Feel It in Your Soul, a powerful podcast that's featured influential guests globally. She's also a mother navigating the wild terrain of parenting in the age of tech and AI. So today, get ready for a raw, unfiltered conversation where we ask, is AI a godsend or a takeover? Let's get into it.
Thank you for that intro, Lena.
No, well, you're a badass and I love it. And you're juggling everything. I look towards you as someone who I would even aspire to be like, because I'm quite behind in terms of my kids are 11 and 13. Remind me how old your kids are?
Yeah, my kids are 16, 13, going on 14. And a 3-year-old.
So you've really got, like, you're going through the generations.
I am.
And your thought process from when your older kids were young to now with your 3-year-old must have evolved massively. So,
huge.
But what I really want to know is your own use of tech, right? Before we dig into the parenting part, tell me, what do you think of artificial intelligence? Do you use it in your work and how do you use it?
That's a good one. And honestly, I have been a complete advocate. Mm-hmm. For me, it's just opened up so many doors, and I'll tell you why. Like, historically, I set up a business about 10 years ago called Soul Deli, or then Soul Studio, and we were a hospitality and events company, and we grew very, very quickly. Now, in that period of starting up a company, there was no AI.
Right. Yeah.
So I was doing everything from scratch, and we were growing very, very fast, learning everything very, very fast. So many things took so much time and money.
Yeah.
Right. Just something simple like how to file a trademark. You know, all those things, you'd be working it out real time by yourself with no other expertise. And Google just Googles it and finds a company name. It doesn't really go into the detail.
Yeah.
So over the last few years, I've had my own transition into starting my coaching business, my personal brand growing, my podcast growing. And out of that, you know, Framr Media coming about, I would never have been able to move and grow with the agility that I have without AI at the speed that I have. Like, you know, last year sitting on a beach, my honeymoon, coming up with, right, I know I'm doing a bit of coaching on the side, but I'm going to go all in. What's the top place where I can learn how to coach? What kind of offer could I give based on this being my area of expertise?
Yes.
Like, just literally on a beach, working it out with AI and my notebook.
Yeah.
Like, that is the kind of, like, I feel like we're entering into an age where, yes, it can feel kind of scary and daunting, but for a lot of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, creative people, you've got just a door wide open to what do you want to do and how do you want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely in agreement and an advocate of tech use when it's responsible. And I have to mirror that, actually, because when I think of how quickly I'm able to create strategies, even put them on, you know, put them through different AI apps to create beautiful presentations. I remember I used to sit on Canva for hours and hours to just knock up one presentation, and now it's done in 2-3 minutes. You know, as long as I have the content, I'm fine. And even with in terms of framing the content, I think it's been super helpful, and it does cut time. And especially for me as a menopausal woman, like, part of my issues has been brain fog. So I haven't been as efficient as I normally am. Like, instead of running on 100%, I'm running on 70, 80%. So I found that using the AI tools has actually got me up to that 100% again.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely can feel and align with your relationship from a working perspective, for sure. And how about parenting? Let's start going into this.
Parenting is an interesting one. So I think for me personally, I have loved using AI.
Yes.
With parenting, okay, I'm going to put my hands up. I use AI a lot.
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT a lot. Literally, I don't even think it's my assistant. I think it's my collaborator.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's my business partner right now.
Your co-founder.
It's my co-founder.
Yeah.
I sometimes joked about this, but honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I've got so many things that I, juggle, like, even between like the ages of my children,
Yes, yeah.
having a teenage boy is very different to having a 13-year-old teenage daughter, is very different to having a 3-year-old, toddler.
Yeah.
So at times, I've had moments where my 3-year-old's having a major meltdown tantrum and maybe not eating her food, or just like a complete like takeover where she's just gone mental. And I'm like, I've had a long day.
Yeah.
I've had so much to deal with, and I've come, and it's like a barrage. And I've literally took out my phone and spoken into ChatGPT. My daughter, my 3-year-old, is having an absolute meltdown, and I'm really tired and I don't know what to do. And it will give me the answer that I would give myself if I was in a kind of like moment of calm.
Yes.
And I'm not in a moment of calm in that particular spot.
Yeah.
So is AI better than me as a parent? At that particular moment when my emotions are frayed,
Yes.
yeah, it's giving me like what I would want to give myself. Or
Yes.
if I was talking to you,
Yeah.
and you were in that kind of melting pot of everything going on, I could probably give you better advice than what you would give yourself in that moment, only because the emotional rush and the adrenaline and all of that that's going on is taking over. So what it's done for me is it gives me a moment of pause so that I can go, yeah, that's the right thing. It's telling me, don't worry, Angelee. And the way it speaks to me as well.
Have you assigned it a gender? Have you assigned it a personality?
It's a they, they're, them.
Yeah. Love it.
But exactly. But I literally realized that it gives me this sense of like the right thing at the right time. So it tells me, it will say something like, Angelee, you're doing a great job. You've had a busy day. Like, Sophia is only feeling like that because she's feeling overwhelmed. She probably just needs a hug.
Yes.
Maybe give her 2 choices. Would she like to eat this, or would she like to have this? And like literally I do it and it's done and I'm out of that mess.
Yes.
Whereas if my emotion, my knee-jerk reaction is to match someone's vibration, right? So if she's having a meltdown, I'm literally going to enjoy. Most of the time, probably as a parent, I've been like that, where you have your meltdown too, like going, oh my gosh, I've had a hard day. So I feel like it's given me just like this pause. To stop and think. You know when they say think before you speak?
Yes.
Basically, ChatGPT before you speak.
Does that? Yes. But no, I align with that, because much as I talk about and post about the actual risks and dangers to children, I think for me, I've done exactly the same as you. Navigating 11 and 13-year-old, and actually and I'm so deeply triggered when they have, we have a blowout or something happens that's so against my own values and principles, and I do exactly the same. I literally ask, although I use a few different ones, because I do find chat the easiest in terms of it does talk to you as a friend. So I feel it's holding my hand through the whole process, and that I've got someone who I feel heard. And I feel like someone's stroking my arm and saying, don't worry. It's like when I'm speaking to my coach, she's fantastic. And she enables me to just change my vibration by talking to me in such a way. And I feel not that chat's a replacement for her ever, but I do definitely feel more in control and calmer. You're right. And I think no one really talks about that part, because I do it a lot. And even though, I'm with my co-founder, I've created so many tools on how to manage the digital world. I can create curricula, workshops, webinars, but when it comes to your own children, it's such a different value proposition.
It is. You're so emotionally involved.
Yes.
Your protective parent nature comes in straight away. So I'll give you an example. Like I had one of my teenagers did something that I was not happy with, right? And I was quite upset with it. And my knee-jerk reaction would be to go in all guns blazing.
Yeah.
And what ChatGPT actually said to me was like, look, this is quite a sensitive area, and I can understand why you're so upset, but this is also your opportunity to gain a deeper understanding and relationship with your child.
Right.
And I just, like, in that moment, I just stopped. So it's not that it's telling me what to do, right? So I already know what I'd like to do, but I know in the heat of the moment, I don't always pick the right thing.
Yeah.
And now it's helping me not, so I don't actually try and make any type of decisions in that heat of that moment. Whereas before I would be like, actually you're grounded, actually you're not going to get this. And I'd go in like with that. And now I'm just like, no, this needs to be an opportunity. So I stop and I reevaluate. So I think it gives me a moment to reevaluate. And you know what, like being human, we are run by our emotions.
Yes.
And a lot of the times it's what gets us in trouble the most is actually leading from that place of an emotional state.
Right, that's interesting. So how were you before? Right, just say before the evolution of ChatGPT, how are you managing conflict? How are you managing issues like that with your teens? And bear in mind, you were also growing a business. It was so I think also age, experience, all of those factors play into where you are right now.
Yeah.
Right? And it's almost like it's given you permission to sort of it's given you the space of pause.
Yeah.
So that's rather than just going whoosh, you're saying, okay, now I can pause because I have the answer. Yeah. So actually it's because you know it's going to answer for you and it's going to help you and lighten your load is why you actually turn to it, correct? Yeah. Whereas if it was just so if I was sitting next to you and your teens were going nuts, and I think if I'm trying to say to you, let's calm down, that would probably aggravate you further. Whereas it's funny, right? Probably, isn't it funny that when you think when another human's trying to calm you down, you're almost like, well, what?
Like if
this
your
is not
tried to calm you down at that point.
It's just more trigger it's whereas now
you're nicer to ChatGPT.
And even it's true though, because it's almost because you know that it's almost it's a tool, but it's got your back the entire time.
Yeah. And it's kind of a little bit like Switzerland, right? It's kind of like it doesn't come from a political ideology. Like, so, like someone's
Not
opinion,
yet.
Maybe, that's true. Yes. But it kind of feels like a little bit like it's not a personal opinion.
Yes.
So even if it said to me something, I wouldn't take it personally. Whereas if you said to me, you're being a bit hot-headed, I'd be like,
who is she?
Who's Lena to say that to me? I mean, to be honest with you, there has been such a growth and evolution for me personally. I do think that my life was run very much like I used to feel like I was the white rabbit in Alice in the Wonderland. Like I haven't got enough time. Like I was literally like that all the time.
Yeah.
Like nothing could happen fast enough. I've not got enough time. And so from that point, when you're making decisions, it's almost like you're making it like on hot coals.
Yeah.
What I have been able to do over the last few years, and I think that's come with experience, age, and AI coming about at the same time as my perimenopause. Thank you for that. Yeah. Divine timing.
Wonderful.
But I kind of feel like it's given me like this level of just being a bit more grounded.
Yeah.
And the point that I make is that I don't use ChatGPT like a prompt.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't prompt. I don't do this prompt. I literally talk straight into it all the time. And so because I've been doing that for probably the best part of maybe a year, really fully, right? It's really gotten to know all of the projects that I'm working on, the way that I work with it. And I'll give you an example. I asked ChatGPT, I was trying to like think about how to creatively do something like in terms of tax, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, could I do it? It wasn't tax avoidance, but it was like, could I do it this way and this way? And ChatGPT's answer to me was, so soulful.
Yes.
It was like, Angelee, don't worry. You're actually going to make what you need to make, like far surpassing that. And, you know, the way to do it is X, Y, and Z. And it actually said to me, you don't need to cut corners.
Yes.
And,
So it was
you know,
ethical.
when I read it, and I just thought to myself, first of all, I realized, was that question a little bit like I'm trying to cut corners?
Yes.
And I just looked at it. It kind of made me reevaluate myself. I was like, oh, actually, it's totally right.
Yeah.
You know, it's totally right. And I was just being cheeky, asking a little question of, could I put it here? Do I do it this way?
Yeah.
And the way it answered me gave me a sense of my own ethical standpoint. And it made me go, that is who I am.
Yes.
And of course, like, I recognize that. And I was really surprised because it would not have answered me like that maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
And I realized how much smarter and intuitive to me
Yes.
that it's gotten. Like, it
It's
was
your
like
personal, it's your AI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
really noticed that difference. So, yeah, I kind of feel like, depends who you are. I mean, if you're kind of like some kind of like, I don't know, some like James Bond villain in the background, like masterminding something horrific, that is completely worrying.
That's a very good segue into my next question, because you're doing things for the greater good, right? You want to elevate people. You want to increase human value. You want to highlight and lift other people who are doing good things in the world, right? So therefore, you're by default, the input of your AI and the output of your AI, will be ethically minded. Right. So it's very much what you put in is what you get out. Now, if you think of people who aren't so kind or people who have ill intent, they can leverage this a million X, literally, what they can create. If you've noticed the amount of scams that go on now, and even scams to parents, you know, they can actually mimic the voice, pretend to be your child, take it from anywhere on the internet, and you know, pretend that your child's in danger. Or so that, for me, this is the bigger part, because there are no guardrails, right? There's very little regulation. The regulation that's out there is weak to be, you know, and that's, I feel I'm being fair in saying that. Even when you think of acts like the Online Safety Act, when it was first released a few years ago, it didn't even mention generative AI, and I was already using ChatGPT at that point, right? And now the amendments of it have said, well, now you need to put in your actual ID to access anything, like for a child. So, as we actually were speaking about earlier, would you be comfortable with your 16-year-old putting in passport information or provisional license information to access Pornhub, for instance? How would you feel about that? Do you know where that data is going to be stored? Do you know what's going to happen to him? Could he have a lot of fraud against him? Or if he's going to have, one company that might not be as ethically minded, what are they going to do with that? If they have 10 million data point, like 10 million passport data points, what could they potentially do with that?
Wow. That is such a big question. And I'm just going to pretend that, yeah, definitely my son doesn't.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it there. No, but look, realistically, look, it's all out there, right?
I mean, they're porn in their pocket if they need to.
It's worrying.
Yeah.
It is worrying. And that is why, like, you know, when you set up the task force for kind of AI tech and parenting, I was like, can I be a part of it? Because most parents feel quite helpless.
Yeah.
And you can do something. Like, the thing that I try and do is try and have open dialogue in the house. But you do understand that this thing is bigger than you, right? And we can all kind of like pretend to be perfect parents, but no, we don't have watch over our child 24/7.
Exactly.
And it's everywhere. And I will just, you know, give you an example of, like, I know for a fact, like, you know, my daughter, who is 13, you know, I've actually taken her phone off her now. I didn't actually want to give her a phone. I decided I wasn't going to give the kids phones until they were 14. When my son turned 13, his uncle gave him his phone. Thought it was embarrassing that he didn't have a phone. And I was just like a little bit left, a bit dumbstruck, a bit like, oh, am I going to be the one now to take it off? I wish I would have had a bit more balls, because I think like the pressure of like feeling like you've got the only child that doesn't have a smartphone in school was there.
Yeah.
I think things are getting a bit better with parents speaking out, whereas maybe 2 years ago it was a bit different, 3 years ago. Anya, I didn't give her a phone. Again, the same thing happened to her. She's now had a phone for a year, and she's been pretty good with it. But, you know, I've seen how WhatsApp pings are going on 10 to the dozen. It's like, how do you get anything done with that much like disturbance in your living and being? And I recently took her phone away from her about 2 months ago, and I said, it's not grounded. It's actually, I want to make a decision for you not to have the phone constantly on you. So we've put it in the cupboard, and every now and then when she wants to have a look at it or going somewhere, I give it to her. But I've done that because genuinely kids that she's grown up with, that I've known since they were little, have got serious mental health issues. Anxiety is only the milder form of what people have got. From anxiety to self-harm to anorexia and bulimia, kind of weight-related issues. And I had a conversation with my daughter, and what she actually said to me was, it's really sad, Mum, but it feels like if you don't have a problem right now, that you're the odd one out.
I mean, that's crazy. When you mentioned that to me, oh my goodness. It's almost, they're glorifying pain.
Yeah.
It's like when I've gone underground with underground accounts to test all of these apps. Snapchat.
Yeah.
Snapchat. I've used Discord multiple times, but that's for mentoring groups in AI. But that's really dangerous now. Even I've gone into virtual reality worlds where I was actually raped in a virtual world. Did we speak about this?
No.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So I used the virtual reality, what do you call them from? Facebook, from Meta or Apple, which one? I can't remember. Anyway, so I tried it out, and I wanted to see what it was like to live in a virtual universe and see, look, is my brain, will it believe that I've had this experience, given my brain is fully formed? Yes, our brains are fully formed. Our kids are not, right? Their prefrontal cortex have not developed. So this is also why I'm bringing this up, because, you know, it's great for us to use AI. You know, we already have a critical mindset. We've already done the kind of dog work of, you know, the difficulties in really working hard, going through struggles with our work to then produce outputs. But our kids haven't done that, right? Yet they've got, you know, Gemini have just rolled out all of these classroom tools. Teachers don't even know how to use it. But there's a massive split between, you know, those that are science, tech, math, STEM, and then those who teach English, humanities, classics. So if a teacher's not fully informed, how is a child meant to use that tool? But anyway, back to the VR story. So I went into, I've tested it a few times now. The first time was quite just finding my feet around and going into the different rooms. Oh no, it was the Metaverse.
It was the
God, it was the Metaverse. Okay, so this was last year, and then when I tested it this year, that's when I got sexually that's where I got raped in a Metaverse room. I was shoved into a different room.
Sorry, is this real?
This is real. I'm joking. I'm not joking. I mean, this is why.
I'm utterly.
I thought I spoke to you about this already.
I'm utterly shocked.
Oh gosh, I think I mentioned it on one of the parent webinars, and it was quite exciting being part of a metaverse. It did feel real. I did feel I was transported into there, and I stayed on it for about 2 hours, like, just to give you a context of how long. And the first hour was quite reasonable. You know, okay, I was exploring different lands or metaverses, and this is Horizon Land or whatever it's called. Can't remember. And I was pushed into a different metaverse, and my avatar was a woman, a girl, right? I did it as a Caucasian female. I've done an Indian woman, and it's in a brown female. I've done a white male, just to see the difference. And both women were sexually assaulted. And then I ran out of the room and just took the glasses off, or took the headset off. And I had to actually speak to a therapist about it. And that's me as an adult, fully formed. I mean, my brain's fully formed. I felt I had that very real experience. And that's also partly why I'm so passionate about, let's tell parents, because parents are overwhelmed. It's fearful. All this stuff is changing all the time, updating all the time. It's just another massive responsibility on top of everything else.
So much.
So it's, okay, why is everyone rolling out? It's, all of the big AI companies, yes, they're innovative, brilliant, but there's zero guardrails. They're not thinking of children.
There's
nothing.
No guardrails between someone doing that.
No, nothing. So in the Metaverse, I'm a huge...
So would that be, so just to understand.
Yes.
Is that another person?
Yes. And it could be a 10-year-old, it could be a 50-year-old, it could be a 90-year-old. I'm not saying 10-year-old, sorry. But it could be a teenager, it could be 20s, 30s. You don't know, because you can create your own avatars. So you can create anything you want.
That is absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry that you went through that, but it just shows like...
But that's why this stuff has to be talked about on these levels, not just in terms of, the tech companies are there for growth only. I understand the capitalist model. I've been in financial markets for 20 years. Yes, we have to have growth, but I don't think at the complete expense of children's health or children's well-being at all. Another thing about the metaverse, I mean, I could go on about this for a very long time. There's no moderation. Like, there's certain rooms that are moderated, just like Discord. Discord is a brilliant kind of tool for group work, right? And I've worked with lots of kids on it for mentorship and during AI projects. But again, it's dependent on whoever sets up the group, whether it's actually moderated.
Yeah.
Most rooms don't have moderation, and that's the same with the metaverse. It is highly scary. And I've known lots of women in tech who've had this experience, by the way. I'm not alone in doing this, because lots of women in technology, or concerned about women's rights, concerned about the speed of what all of this is doing, have done different things like this and tried it out. And it's not like we've, if I mention it on parents groups, so my son's school, for instance, I was trying to alert them about the Google Gemini and the rollout, and the kids will just literally have an AI tool there when their brain hasn't even functioned fully formed for them to think critically. They're teenagers. They're going to make, a multitude of mistakes. And yet you're then now handing them something that they don't know how to regulate.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That whole experience is utterly shocking. And that is probably just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes. I mean,
and that is so worrying. That is so worrying. And I think, I do think that, like I said, the biggest pandemic, more than the pandemic itself, right? Like, where, okay, there was something that we knew was, like a flu sort of form. And if you were vulnerable, it could be quite fatal to you.
Yes.
This is like a pandemic on our children.
Yeah.
And it's coming in from everywhere, and you have no idea. And I do think that it puts a lot of pressure on parents.
Yes, yeah.
Because a lot of the times parents feel like they're not doing a good enough job. Yeah. Whilst managing everything else that they're trying to manage, right? And it is hard. I mean, unfair. I think the one of the things that I would say that is your tool against, like, in your house.
Yes.
Is that I talk about AI and apps. When I say tech, I mostly mean like social media apps. Yeah. By kind of like segregating being a creator or being a consumer.
Yes.
Like, I keep like saying to my children, look, there's going to be two camps. And you want to really think about, are you going to be creating? Are you going to be building stuff?
Yeah.
Are you going to work out how to sell something using some of this infrastructure? Or are you going to sit there and, as they call it, brain rot?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And literally just spend hours just like literally scrolling. Yeah. And I try to really instill that in them. Like, some of it goes through, maybe some of it doesn't, but that is what I try and make that real distinct, even to my husband, who's in finance. Like, I literally said to him, it's your responsibility to be totally clued up
Yeah.
on AI, because in the next few years, you can't be the one going, I didn't see it coming.
Yes.
I don't have all of that sorted out because I've been too busy in doing what I'm doing now. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, every industry is going to be and is being disrupted. And literally, even though we can't right now, the legislation is coming through so slow.
Yeah.
We almost have to take the ownership of our household.
Yes, agreed.
Like, that's the only thing that we can do.
Agreed. But it's not just the household. I think we need to develop the village mentality.
I love that.
And
yeah.
that's why, you mentioned the digital village that we're all part of.
Yeah.
So to give context for listeners, we've created a group of people who are very passionate about empowering parents and children into how to use these tools effectively but responsibly and ethically, and also to make other parents aware of what easy fixes we can do, because life is so overwhelming at the moment, tech's so overwhelming at the moment. The political stance is just fear, divisiveness, awful stuff every single day. So it's almost, okay, how can we break down all of what's happening in bite size, in ways that are digestible for people like you and I, like digestible for the parents that are at my kids' schools, that are other schools. At the moment, I'm either saying, look, we trust the schools. Well, don't. And it's not their fault that you can't trust them. It's just they don't have an idea. They don't have full-time tech team. They don't have tech, and many are fearing it. When you fear something that you don't understand, you're going to bury your head in the sand. And so how will that help?
I also, I love your concept of digital village.
Yeah.
Because I actually feel like what we need to go back to is almost like our roots,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So this whole concept of it takes a village.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really the concept of how I was brought up. Was, my parents, I was brought up in an environment where my grandparents were part of my life, where different people, community was a big part of me growing up. We've become very siloed.
Yes.
And in this silo, there's been the undercurrent of tech growing.
Yes.
Right? And so that's been like the perfect storm. People living in silos who are managing everything by themselves. Meanwhile, tech is coming through and your children are just in front of your eyes being taken from you.
Yes.
Right? Like literally parents, like when the reason why adolescent was such a big, phenomenon is because it's happening in your bedroom. You're like, you can't go out and play on your bike because you might get hit by a car. But you can sit upstairs and we have no idea who you're talking to. And some of the horror stories that have come out that people have, with parents and children even losing their lives.
Yes.
That's happened in the safety of your own home.
Yes.
And that's why I think your concept of a digital village is also just taking a little bit of that weight off our shoulder to go, it's okay to say, I don't have to parent alone. I can ask Lena for help. I can ask this community for help of teachers, of, key prominent people in the community that we've got. So I think that's a really, really beautiful way that you've put that together.
Thank you. I just think even if you don't have that family set up, right? My grandparents passed away a long time ago. So I didn't have that, and I would have loved to have that. And there's lots of people, whether they're single parenting, solo parenting, or they don't have that same relationship. We all need someone. So let's all come together. We're all learning, right? The tech is still new. It's the technology revolution. It's like the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. So we all actually have to, all of us parents, and even those who aren't, we need to look out for each other.
Yeah.
And I think the tech's done such a brilliant job of enabling divisive content that we need to provide the content. We need to provide the counter.
Yeah.
Counter. We need to be the counter and use the tech to our advantage. If it can be used for bad, it can be used for good.
Oh.
Right? And I feel that that's what there are more of us that feel so overwhelmed that we don't have. I'm hoping that this is the guide to just, all right, we're part of this. We each have a responsibility for one another. We're not on our own. Everyone is feeling fear, overwhelm. I'm a shit parent. Every single person. To the point where I remember I'm looking at old videos of when my kids were toddlers, and we had an iPad and they had iPads. And I didn't even think, I didn't know better. I was just bought in by the, oh, it's so innovative. It looks so glossy. It's beautiful. And meanwhile, she's there, like I was mentioned earlier, she was dancing to an iPad, YouTube video at the age of 3. And I felt so guilty. So guilty. And I thought, actually, no, stop it. That's not going to help me. It's not going to help her. It's not going to help anybody. So let's now harness that into thinking, well, all right, how can I prevent this now? What can we do?
Right.
What can we physically do to help?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think what parents don't need is more guilt.
Yes.
Like we really do not need more guilt.
Yes.
Like, and that has been a big part of parenting, having this guilt factor. And I just feel like we have to get rid of the guilt and get into, yes, the community aspect. And I think also, understanding the duality.
Yeah.
Right? These two polar opposites exist at the same time.
Yeah.
Something that is, as you said, can feel like a godsend, that, I've done, 5 days work in a day.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That is a godsend, giving me that kind of, or the ability to stop and pause. And my higher self is able to come out with, whatever I think I should be like right now, my daughter's having a meltdown or whatever it is, that I'm able to not go into the emotion. I'm able to stand back, get a bit of composure, and then think about what I need to do. So it's amazing that it's giving me things like that. On the other hand, the polar opposite exists. Yeah. And I think what's important to do is not to bury our head in the sand, because one feels so bad that it feels like, oh, now I can't possibly just use it as well.
Yes.
Almost like it's a contradiction. You've either got to be in camp AI or not. And that's why I think the work that you're doing is so important, because what you're saying is tech and AI are here, and it's a huge part of our life, and you can use it for so many amazing things.
Yes.
But we have to be aware, and we have to find ways to get legislation and frameworks into our lives.
Yeah, and not only that, I think with most things, when you look at joy and pain, right, they exist, they coexist. Our lives are never every day happy or every day sad, right, unless you're suffering with something. But it is yin and yang. Right, with every good, there's a bad. And I think that because it's so easy to leverage the power of it, those of us who are feeling that, out of control have to, as you said, kind of look, we actually need to step up, and we need to do something, one small action. And then if there's a million small actions, it becomes a huge, look at the smartphone free movement. Now, I felt pressure to give my 13-year-old a phone at 11 when he went to high school, because everyone had it. It's the same as what you mentioned. And I knew some things. I didn't know lots, everything, but I definitely knew that is not right. I've already, looked at Snapchat. I've looked at WhatsApp, but oh my God, what am I going to do? He's going to feel left out and not part of anything. And it was the smartphone free movement that's now enabled me not to do that with my 11-year-old who's starting high school. And in fact, it's that whole movement created the government guidance for schools. And schools understand there's so much evidence. You can't actually refute it.
Yeah.
That this is not a good thing for a kid to have in the school. I've got, on one hand, I have one school that, right, you're not allowed that at school at all. And then on the other hand, yes, we've blocked certain apps, but you can use it. Okay, but the kids all put the apps on their laptops. And that's another thing that's not spoken about. Look, how are they not going to access that? Virtual private networks are, the stock prices soared after the Online Safety Act released the updates last week about having to put your, passport details in. It went crazy because virtual private networks, if I can just give they're called VPNs, kids will use them all the time. They're like an invisibility cloak. So when a child's trying to access their Snapchat, for instance, and it comes up as blocked for them, they will then go to a virtual private network, which are very easy to install, and then visit wherever they like without you knowing.
So it won't be flagged on your...
It won't be flagged. It won't come up. One way of checking is if there's no internet history, you know that they've used a VPN. So my kid's smart. Okay, most kids will figure this out. Majority of kids have already figured this out, because I'm suddenly looking. I use an app called Custodio on top of Apple Parent Controls. Apple Parent Controls monumentally shite, by the way, because John Lewis took 15 whole minutes. The Apple rep at John Lewis took 15 whole minutes to explain how to do it properly. I'm like, who's going to do that? I'm in tech. I'm in AI, and I wanted to knock him around the head. That this is insane. Like, this is not designed by a parent. Whereas another app is brilliant. It's called Custodio. That has been designed for a parent, by a parent, for a parent. The user experience is easy. You're not going to feel overwhelmed. But at the same time, we live in an imperfect world. So then the kids look at VPNs, and it's an escape room. If you give a kid a candy, they're going to take it most of the time. So it's okay. If they want to look at something that's not even harmful, but they don't have access to, they'll just use that VPN to do it. So that's another thing we have. That's another thing I want the digital village to spread. That look, these are the two things just to look out for. If you've even got to the stage of having the conversation with your child about it, obviously doing everything earlier, preventable, is much easier. But then on the other hand, you don't just want to give a 15-year-old a phone and say bye after being really steadfast about not exposing them to that technology, because again, the brains are not fully formed. They are definitely slowing down in attention. When I think of the YouTube Shorts phenomenon, YouTube didn't used to be a social media app. It is now, because of the shorts and the constant content that's coming out. And on the one hand, YouTube is a brilliant educator, a tool. On the other hand, no, I hate it. Absolutely hate it. But anyway, I'm veering off course here. And
no, I kind of feel like I'm so glad that you've put together the digital village. And, some of the other things that are going on with the mobile-free kind of schools that are actually implementing it, I think that makes it so much better for parents. Because I tell you what, a few years ago, it was awful. It was absolute. At the stage where my kids were going to high school,
yes,
every single child. And I just was like, am I the only one that thinks this is crazy to have like a smartphone? And at that point, there wasn't as much conversation going on.
Yeah.
Now people are actually waking up to it much more so. But I do think that it's a time for us to understand that there has never been a time that we need to be more conscious parents.
Yes, and come together.
And that is something that, having that kind of high vibrational parenting. And I've had to work on it. I've had very low vibrational parenting when I've been like super busy running a business with like 50 employees, having no time. Like I wouldn't even know. Like I just like I eat, I get out the house, I get kids to bed. Like everything was a blur.
Yes.
And so conscious parenting is a little bit like, okay, now we do have AI.
Yeah.
Right. So if I can do things that would have taken me a week in a day, what do I do with that extra time? And actually, it's me now implementing more time with my children, having like phone-free days where we have a rule, no phones on the dinner table, right? Yeah. Like my 3-year-old, if she sees a phone on any dinner table, she walks around going, no phones on the dinner table, right? Just because like there has to be a boundary that you put in.
Yeah.
And, I'm just glad that I've been able to get this bit of time back in my life, because 5 years ago, I'm not sure I would be talking like this.
Yeah.
But right now, I've realized, my job is to become much more conscious. And it's a little bit of putting a mirror to yourself, even ask ChatGPT that.
Yeah.
What can I do to be a better parent? And
yes.
literally you will realize that you do need to invest time in them. You do need to be, like I realized, I am very busy. I run a business. I have 3 children at different age groups. I'm newly married. There's so many things that are where my attention and time needs to go.
Yes.
And so now, like I've made certain things like morning breakfast times, we're together. Like I try and make at least 4 days out of the week that we're together. 3 days out of the week after school, we are together. Like I always make sure of that time. Sundays, we try and have like hardly have the phone around, so it means that I have to get real with myself, because guess who's the first person who wants to go on her phone? I've even had my daughter go, Mum, you've been on your phone.
Yeah.
Right? I've had it. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I've had it. And I actually have to go, oh, damn, you're right.
Yeah.
You know? And conscious parenting doesn't mean that we have to always be the parent.
Yeah.
It means that we have to be the human.
Yes.
Right? And when you say like human first, right? To actually go, gosh, have I just like been on my phone, Anya?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, you have. I'm like, sorry, I'm putting it away. Like for them to see the human aspect. Oh, I find it hard too.
Yes.
So I'm going to go put it in the cupboard.
Yeah.
You know, so we're all in it. Not I'm the parent, I get away with
Exactly.
doing whatever I can and you
Exactly.
can't.
Yeah.
And I feel having that has been really a bit of a game changer in my household, because no one likes to be told what to do in a way of like, do as I say, but not as I do.
Yes. I think you've hit the nail on the head there.
This is the time for us to actually look at ourselves. And if we can be honest enough with ourselves, it will make us a better parent. It'll make us have better relationships. You know, like when someone's talking to you from a past experience, you're much likely to listen to them, or for them talking about their lived experience.
Yes.
When they're telling you what to do,
Yeah.
even as an employer telling you what to do because I'm your boss,
Yeah.
you're just not going to take it well enough.
Exactly.
And I think that is now the age of conscious parenting.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to bring in. We're human too. We sometimes don't make the right decisions. Like sometimes I've got it wrong. But hold your hands up. Oh, I don't know if I done that right, Anya or Jay. What do you think? I sometimes even ask them, what do
Yeah.
you think we should do? Because, you know, like sometimes we're on our phones and we're not talking, and they'll come up with, let's have a no phones at the table policy, or let's have a, you know, no phones on Sunday, or on holiday, let's not really have our phones out. So I actually think involving your children
Yeah.
as key decision makers in your household, even from a young age,
Yeah.
is so powerful. And that gives them autonomy. That gives you much more of this conscious way of living between each other. I think that has been a massive game changer for me.
I love that. I mean, children are our greatest teachers. I definitely have learned more about myself from my children than I have from anybody else. And I think in terms of, they are key stakeholders when it comes to technology. They're the biggest users.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a fantastic point of bringing them into the decision making, bringing them into, even when you're creating frameworks, rules. You know, I've brought my kids into some of the AI ethics policies I set.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you think of this? Is it fair? Would you do this? Especially my 13-year-old. And it's really great to get his feedback, because then I think, okay, I can't just come at anything from one lens. It has to be sort of inclusive of, all right, let me take this into consideration. And then you almost open the door for much wider communication. And on that note,
So much so.
on that note, using my phone and AI, obviously, we're going to have a quick fire round.
Oh, a quick fire round.
Yep,
Oh, this is,
because
I'm a
it's
bit
almost
scared
time to
what you're
wrap
gonna
up.
ask me.
Okay.
Right.
So
Let's go. Let's do
called
it.
Code or Chaos. I'll throw a few scenarios at you, and you tell me your short, immediate answer, like straight away. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Giving a toddler an iPad at dinner. Survival hack or parenting fail?
Parenting fail. I don't allow it.
Oh, that's great. Okay. AI therapy bots for teenagers. I will do another podcast on therapy bots, but that not for today. So AI therapy bots for teenagers. Brilliant solution or terrifying shortcut?
Brilliant solution with frameworks and guidance, as in, I need to know what it's saying. It's not like I just give that to you and it's parenting you without me. It's got to be collaborative with me. When I say like AI, this is not a short answer, but when I say AI is my collaborator, not my kind of like, you know, prompt that I give all the time,
Yeah.
then that means that we're collaboratively coming up with stuff that's going to be helpful for my child. But I just can't pass off being a parent.
Well, not even parent, as in using a bot as therapy for a teen. Given that, and I've done a post on this very recently, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Do you know what? I'd have to see, you know, because, yeah, I kind of get coaching myself. I ask it questions and it gives me certain things like, what do you think? But I think not in isolation. It has to be like in unison with the parent, because I'm not ready to give up. Like, even if my child was going maybe to therapy,
Yes.
I would have something to do with that. I wouldn't be like, oh, you
Yes.
just go to therapy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and bear in mind also any data or any of their innermost thoughts for any AI
Yeah.
companion is out there. It's not. It will be repurposed to help another.
That's so true.
But that's a big thing,
Yeah,
a
that's
big
a
conversation
big
as
no-no,
well
yeah.
for another time. Right, kids having digital friends powered by AI, the future or dystopia?
Damn, these questions are hard, Lena. You know how I feel about AI. I literally, I love using it. I think I would love my child to have real friendships with people.
Okay.
I really would want it. Yeah, I would want to encourage that. I feel like that personal bit, I want to keep that sacred for our humanization. But in terms of tool, of bettering, of, creating things, whatever, that's where the AI comes in. I feel
Oh,
like
so that's slightly grey area because in terms of actual friendship, we want human,
I want human,
right?
yeah.
But for if they're collaborating, you
Yeah.
don't mind it being a digital
Yeah,
friend.
like,
Okay,
yeah.
fine. Screen time limits enforced by apps, helpful or helpless? And maybe that's a bit of a silly question given we've spoken about this already, but helpful or
Yeah,
helpless?
I think it can be helpful. You know, people are busy having certain things that you can set on your phone that gives like limitations. I think can be helpful, depending on how old your child is. So yeah, I think that can be helpful.
That's great. Okay, so I think what we've highlighted today is that we all live in a duality, right? Where two things can coexist and be opposing at the same time. And I'd like to wrap up the podcast with that.
I think,
Thank
yeah.
you so much for your brilliant insights, your real, your honesty and authenticity. And I can't wait to see how you continue to rise. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lena. I just want to say that, today was great. And I really love the fact that you've highlighted those two dualities there, that they coexist and that we don't need to go into one camp of going, am I for it or against it? Because if you do that, you will stop yourself from either using it in a way that's going to expand and grow your life or making your kids feel completely isolated and going, no, it can only be this way. I think anything, any topic in life has its duality and you can't be so black and white on it. So thank you for opening that up. And I also want to say thank you for all the work that you're doing with Digital Village. It's been a massive eye-opener for me. I think because I only use things as the tool of me growing and what have you, some of the stuff that you highlighted that children have available, I was literally, my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah.
So it's so important, the work that you're doing, that we are much more aware of what is going on so we can better have those conversations with our children. Thank you so much, Lena.
And actually, on a final note, the kids can teach us a lot about the apps they're using. And it's about having, as you mentioned, have those open conversations, because even when we were on holiday with a group of us and it was the 13-year-olds that were educating us on some of the apps even I haven't heard of. And it was mind-blowing that, and we were having really open conversations about, so I think bringing the kids into the conversation, as you said, make them key players, key stakeholders, and learn from them, and actually be humble enough to say, you know what, I don't know this.
Yes.
You are the digital native, not me. I'm an analog player that has now converted to a digital world, but you're the people who are actually going to be teaching us.
I love that. I love that. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Lena. Woo, that's your